if I'm live. I'm now live. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry for being late. I had tech issues with Facebook. For some reason, the camera was not working either directly here on the platform or when I tried to do it on Zoom. But anyway, here we are. I missed you all last week. How is everyone doing? Today's Monday, July 11th. We're almost in the middle of July. July signals the second half of the year. So today I thought I'd go in and talk about just a few things. The last time I went live, I had like 10 topics to talk about. This week is just 5. Nothing much, but they are still very important items for aspiring virtual assistants and even existing virtual assistants. So if you're here right now, please say hello and let me know where you're from. If you're not a regular viewer, let me know where you're from. I'd love to know what you do and what value you're hoping to get from this live. Has anyone done their dinner? I just finished having dinner with my family. So it's currently 9:32 in the evening here in the Philippines. If you're watching from anywhere else in the world, please let me know. If you're watching from, if you're going to watch this as a replay, let me know also. So, alright, so the first thing that I'd like to talk about is how do you price your service? This is one of the most popular topics. Every time I go to a community forum of freelancers, whether they've been doing it for a while or they're just dipping their toes trying to see how much they can earn out of this career, this is a very popular question. And one of the favorite questions of aspiring VAs, especially here in the Philippines, is X dollars an hour a good deal? So I see this a lot. Like anytime if I check every day in these community posts, especially from Upwork, Freelancers Philippines, you will see this is a very common question. It gets asked, I think, every single day. Alright, so I'm going to explain to you why it's important for you to know how to price your service. So there's this content creator who I've been following for a while now. I'm subscribed to his channel and I signed up to his upcoming course because I think he's really good at what he's doing. And as I was watching more of his videos, I came across one of his how-to videos on how to hire a video editor. And in that online tutorial, he talks about how to go about creating a job description for this role. So if you're a content creator on YouTube and you want to outsource the video editing part of the process, he's saying that you have to have a nice procedure for it to make sure that your recruitment is efficient. So he shares a job description template and he talks about having trial work or assignments to make sure that the person you're hiring is really a professional. But surprisingly, despite these requirements that he's promoting, he's saying that after all of this, you can pay someone from the Philippines between $4 to $7 an hour. So to me, it's a shock. Like, you're expecting a really good professional to help you boost the traffic in your channel, which will make money for you, but you're only looking to pay this person small change. To me, this is really shocking. I mean, I know it's your money, it's your choice to do what you want to do with your money, but I mean, what happened to fair rates? If someone in your organization is helping you build your business, then you must value that person, and you must, if you want to retain that person, you must also show it by compensating him or her fairly. So imagine you're business is earning thousands of dollars in YouTube, and then you pay the video editor, you know, like $5 an hour. Okay, how is that fair? It's not fair at all. That's why my advice to you is for you to know how to price your service, because I'm sure this $4 to $7 range, this is so, it's all over the place. Wherever you go, it's like people are thinking that this is the right price. It's not. If you have experience in video editing, what should be your price? Should it be $4? Should it be $7? Should it be 10, 15, 20, 25? You have to do your own calculations. Don't base it on what you see in platforms, in communities. Okay, so there's a process to this, and I'm going to share that with you. This is going to take up the bulk of our live today. So get your notepads ready, your pen and paper ready, because this is something that you really have to spend time on. Okay, because if you don't calculate it, you will regret it eventually. Okay, I have a story about that later. So the first thing that you have to do is so going back, everyone is saying you should know your worth. When someone is saying, is $5 okay to take this kind of job? And then people will respond and say, you should know your worth. You should know your worth. Like, what does that mean? You should know your worth. It means you have to sit down and list down all of the things that you will need, how much you will need a month to survive or to achieve whatever it is that you need to achieve. Okay, so because we have different situations. We are in different situations. Like, you can be someone who has a full-time job and you just want to make extra. That's a different situation. How much extra do you want to make in a month? So you calculate it from there. But if you're someone who really does not have any source of income at all, then you really have to put into consideration all the bills, everything that you're responsible for, and get the total of that. All right? So the first thing is that calculate how much you need each month, either to survive or to attain or achieve a savings target that you have in mind, right? So calculate, write it down. You have a piece of paper, you have pen, write down, is it the bills, is it the tuition at school, is it the food, electricity, internet, whatever. List them down and then put the cost for each item, and then you get the sum of that. Okay, so is that everything that you need? No. The second thing is you have to factor in the costs of running your own VA business, because remember, your client does not have to spend a single centavo for your computer, your internet, your electricity, your backup internet, your office, your noise cancelling headphones, whatever it is that you need, the software that you use for video editing, or the drawing pad that you need for your graphic design. You're the one who have to put in this capital, so you have to add that into your costs, your monthly costs. Okay, then after that, you have to add in how much you want to allocate for your buffer, your savings, or for emergencies. Why do we have to include all of these? Because the reason why you get into a business, you invest your time in it, is because you are expecting an ROI for that. And the ROI for having a full-time career, for example, in virtual assistance, is it will be your salary from it, or your income from it, will take care of all the bills. And if someone gets sick, you can bring to the hospital if you don't have health insurance, or if something comes up, you have savings, right? If there's a, the cost that you're expecting is much higher, then you have a buffer. Things like that. That's how you calculate. You don't just calculate how much you need for food, that's very bare. Like, you have no wiggle room if that's the only thing that you calculate. So those three things, okay? the basic needs, and then the costs of running your business, and then buffer, savings, emergency costs. So add all of them, and then the sum will tell you how much you need each month. Then you split that up into 4 weeks and split it into the number of hours that you have available to do your VA work, whether it's 40 hours a week or just 10 hours a week. Then you have your hourly rate. Okay, but does it end there? Are you happy with that? Okay, what if you end up just having $9 an hour? Now you have to benchmark. Is this the standard rate in the place of my client? So if, for example, you're targeting clients in the US, example, in New York, the rates in New York is different from the rates in California. Okay, so if your client lives in California, my understanding is they pay higher there. Okay, the cost of living there is higher. So if your rate is here and the California rate is here, find your sweet spot. How can you get closer to that benchmark so that your rate is competitive but it's not too cheap? All right, so that you're still happy with it. Chances are, if you try to get close to the benchmark rate, then the money that you receive every month is higher than what the sum that you came up with. And can you imagine having that kind of income? Like, okay, I'm not just receiving money that's going to take care of the bills or the rent, but it takes care of everything. All right, so it's very personal. That's why you have to do the work. You have to do the calculation. If you haven't done it, do it tonight. It's just figure out how much do you spend for all the things. Okay, so that's my advice to you, is come up with your price. Don't be pressured into lowering your price just because people are saying that's how much clients are going to pay. No, clients can pay you as much as $75 an hour, $100 an hour if you're really, really good. So it's personal. Remember that. It's up to you. This is how you find out your worth. This is how you know your worth. Okay? No one else can tell you how much you're worth. Only you would know it. Right. Now, the next item that I'd like to talk about, which is also relevant, is you have to identify both your ideal client and your nightmare client. Why is this important? Because knowing who you want to work with will help you shape your marketing efforts. Okay, it will help you plan who you target for your services. And knowing who your nightmare clients are will let you know immediately, oh, I shouldn't be working with this person because this person is it falls in the cray-cray or the nightmare client category. So I won't be spending time with this person. So for example, your ideal client is someone in the corporate executive. Okay, someone who's an executive, or it's a leadership coach. Or your ideal client is someone who's in like a single mom in her 40s. She loves to travel. She reads books about leadership. So you just create a persona, and she is, she believes in inclusivity, diversity. She knows about, she believes in treating other people fairly, including the people that she works with. So that could be your ideal person, your ideal client. Now, your nightmare client could be someone who is always looking for cheap rates, or someone who's micromanaging her people. Those qualities that you don't like, put in your nightmare client category. The qualities that you love about the person that you want to work with to be your client, put them in your ideal client category. Okay. So there's a story that I was talking about earlier. This is the story. This morning, I saw a post on the freelancers Facebook community. She's asking how she can ask her client for a raise since the tasks that they gave her since she started have already grown. She now supports 3 of their businesses. Okay, she's a graphic designer, but now she's supporting 3 of their businesses. She's like an online business manager, but they're just paying her $4 an hour. Okay, so just to give you like a context of how this is, the client is based in Australia. So $4, 4 Australian dollars an hour. What can this buy us in the Philippines? This is 150 pesos. What can 150 pesos buy you here in the Philippines? Can anyone tell me? Just post it in the comment section. What can 150 pesos buy you? Okay, I think that's like a McDonald's meal. In the US, that's $2.72. It's like a candy bar. And then in Australia, you can buy a pack of Tim Tams for that. It's like a chocolate covered biscuit. So this is what this Australian client sees his online business manager's time is worth. Okay? In Australia, if it were an Australian doing this work for them, they would be happy to pay $65 to $95 to $100 an hour. But the discrimination is there. They're thinking, oh, you're from the Philippines, it's a third world country, I'll just pay you this. So now her dilemma is she does not know if she can ask for a raise. Alright, she's struggling because now she has to like she's nervous about it because this is a full-time job for her. So she does not know how to ask for a raise. She knows she's being underpaid, but she doesn't know how much she's being underpaid. Alright, and she's not alone. This is happening to a lot of Filipino freelancers. That's why it's important for you to know who your ideal client is, who your nightmare client is. It's important for you to know what your pricing is. And if there's a potential client who approaches you and tells you, I can't afford you, then you'll know where the boundary rests. You'll know whether to say yes or to consider to negotiate. Okay? So making these things to you, these things clear to you, will guide you in choosing whether you submit a proposal to a potential client or to let that one go so you can protect yourself, your mental health, and your reputation as a virtual assistant. Because let's face it, if you're not happy with what you're doing anymore, it affects your mental health. It affects your performance, right? So if you want to have like a thriving career, these things are like very, very important. Don't take them for granted. This is something that you don't guess. This is something that you can put the work in. Okay? Now, the next topic is how our clients promoting cheap labor is hurting our industry and our livelihood. I've seen this twice, and I was three times already. I've seen this 3 times. When people who benefit from Filipino freelancers, okay, even promote cheap labor. So there was one time in a Facebook group for, I think, either American or European business people, this guy was saying like, oh my gosh, I made like $4,000 in a week, and I'm just paying my VA like $3 an hour. To return her favor, I'd like to give her more clients. Let me know if you're interested to have a VA and I'll refer her to you. So this is like a curse for that VA, because now that client has put a ceiling on her rate. Now people will think, and then not just her, but for the Filipino freelancers as well. They're going to think, if I need someone, I'll just hire a Filipino freelancer. And when they're faced with someone who knows their rate, like me for example, they're going to say like, I'm not going to pay you more than $5 an hour. You charge too much if your rate is more than $20. That's the impact of it. That's why they are hurting our industry, and not just the Philippine industry. They're also hurting the industry in their country and in other countries. All right, because it ruins the reputation overall for virtual assistants. Now, let's take for example the freelancer from earlier. So this lady who's a graphic designer, she says that she makes 50,000 pesos a month. When you compute that in this week's conversion rate to a dollar, that's about $909 per month. Okay, so at $4 an hour, it means that she is clocking in 57 hours. Can you imagine? 57 hours per week just to make that money. That is 11 hours per day. Okay, if she is awarded just the minimum decent rate that they would pay in the US for a beginner VA, which is $10 an hour, she then just needs to work 22 hours per week or 4.5 hours a day. Can you imagine the difference that makes? It cuts her work hours in, it cuts her work hours into half. Now, what can she do with the 4.5 hours? The remaining 4.5 hours, she can do whatever she wants. She can take on more clients who pay decent pay for her. She can invest in training herself so she can charge, she can escalate her charge, work her way to $35, I don't know what else. Or she can use that to spend time with her family or just to rest, So you can see how this all works together. Knowing how much you're worth and having the courage to find the right client, because I'm now going into my next topic, which is finding your niche. When you're first starting out, it's possible that you don't know what your niche is right away. Okay, or you might feel like there is no client, no one needs the specialization that you have. So my advice is just go with the skills that you love to do, and then identify your ideal clients, and then put yourself out there, because sooner or later you will find your match. Just don't stop, because sometimes progress is invisible. I don't know if you've seen this picture of a man, like he's holding an axe and he's digging, and then when he's like, I don't know, 1 foot away from where the gold, he just stopped, not knowing that the gold is just right there. So if he didn't stop, he would have gotten the gold, So it's like that. Our efforts are like that. So there's invisible progress. So when you do this, do one more. Once you've achieved this, do another one, because that's how you progress. Just don't stop. You may not see the rewards immediately, but just keep building on it, and just don't give up. Tweak wherever you want, wherever you think you need to adjust. So that's another thing, is don't be lazy or afraid about tweaking your approach, tweaking your resume, tweaking your proposal, tweaking your rates. It's all part of your growth. So yeah, that's one thing. And then with me, I started as a general VA because I didn't believe that my background was enough. Anyone would benefit from someone who supported trainings. I didn't know that, but I ended up supporting a company based in the UK doing exactly that, doing exactly what I did in an office here in the Philippines. And that was supporting the logistics of trainings, right? So your talent in an office in the Philippines or wherever country you are, in a face-to-face environment, you can bring that online as a freelancer or a virtual assistant. All right, so there's always a client for you, there's always a niche for you. So my progression of work was, I started as a general VA, and then I went into the logistics of trainings, and then I became an executive assistant, and then I became a tech VA, and then a community manager, and now I use a bit of all of these. I do events, I'm an EA, just a little part of that. I just create minutes of meetings. And then I do check. But the difference is I'm now just catering to my ideal clients. I choose who I want to work with. That's the beauty of it, because you get to choose. You get to select who to work with, and at a rate that you're happy with. That's the difference. So, the beauty of having a niche is you're not expected to do everything. And when the time comes when your client says, oh, can you do this as well? You can just say, I can't do that, but I'm willing to be trained on it. And then once I'm trained, then you can negotiate if you want a raise for that additional role. It's up to you. Or you can just say, sorry, no, not my piece of cake. Let's hire someone else to do that. Okay, so the next thing that I'd like to talk about is creating a wiki for your company. So if you're new with your client, or even if you're not new, it's not too late to create a wiki. A wiki is like a reference for everything about your company. It's like a procedures handbook, but not really. It's not. It has everything that a newcomer would want to know about it. So the reason why I say it's not too late, and why it's something that you should invest a little bit of time on, is because it helps you map how the business is set up. It helps you track how the business is growing and what departments are involved, what terms are being used. When I was an executive assistant for a mushroom farm, it was a shock for me, because a lot of the terminologies I was not familiar with, because it was a combination of scientific terms, business terms, agriculture terms, and engineering terms. So I had to, it was like when you sit down in a meeting, there are so many vocabulary words that you don't know, and it's hard to piece together what they're talking about. Imagine how much harder it is when you have a task to do, or you're in charge of a project and there are concepts that you are not aware of. You have to study them. So that's why having a wiki, it takes a bit of time, but it's very handy when you want to remember, oh, what's this term again? Oh, what's the mushroom variety called again? Oh, it's Agaricus bisporus. Or, what's the association that my client is in? What are the associations that he's in? Or who are the directors in this organization that he's part of? Or what's the template that my client wants to use for this kind of course? So if you have a wiki for each of your clients, then you don't have to rely on your memory on how the business works, the ins and outs of it. So you can use so many different platforms for it. But for now, what I use is Notion. Okay, Notion, because you can create layers and layers of pages there. You can create tables, you can create image galleries, you can have videos there. So it's like your go-to manual, and that will help you become an expert in your client's business. So that's that. If you have any questions about any of the topics that I tackled, please let me know here in the comment section. Especially, I hope that the pricing bit was helpful for you, because it's unfair. The reason why I went into this business, one of the reasons, of course, I want to make passive income, is one of the reasons is I want their perception of Filipino VAs to change, because talent-wise, we are at par with our counterparts in the US and in the UK. So why should they pay us lower? It shouldn't be based on where we are based. It should be based on the value that we deliver to their business. If we are saving them 40 hours a week, why would we be happy just being paid small change for the value that we bring? So if you find yourself in that situation, I really advise for you to start listing down the things that I said earlier, and then benchmark it, and then have that rate fixed in your mind. Have a range. So you have a minimum and you have a maximum. Like the stretch would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got this rate. But the minimum is like, okay, if the client wants this, fine. But if he wants lower, no go. All right. If you have that key rate in your head, it'll be so easy for you. There's no need for you to think, oh, should I get it or not? Should I get it or not? No. Once you have that number, that range in your head, because you know that you put in the work for that, because you know that it is personal to you, because you know it's based on facts of your life, of your livelihood, what you need, then you will be defending it. You will not be thinking twice about, this is what I want, it has to be within this range. You know, it's so much easier. Okay, decision making is so much easier, whether you're going to take this client or not, submit a proposal here or not. It's going to save you time. Okay, so I hope that bit about pricing your rate is something that you can take away from this live. If this is something that you know want to learn further, let me know and we can set up like a seminar for it. We can go through a workshop so that you know I can walk you through step by step on how to do it. And yes, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to create a persona for your ideal client, because your ideal client is a person just like you. Your ideal client is someone who has traits, and most of the time your ideal client has the same things that you like. You know, you have similarities, you have the same values. That's why working with them is so easy. You don't need to make a lot of adjustments just to, you know, understand how they think. It would be easy to support them. Like, you can support them and be like one step ahead and help them grow their business. All right. That's it for me. So I hope, even if this was just 5 topics, I think that it carries a lot of weight and is something that, oh, my sister in the mountains is saying hi. Hello, V. Oh my gosh, I'm super envious. Ingit na ingit ako because she'll be extending her stay in Kalinga for another 4 days. So she's having a super long holiday, but it's long overdue. She's so hardworking and she deserves it. Please say hi to Carms for me. These are hardworking bunch. They know how much they're worth. That's why they're like this. Thank you so much. So yeah, so I'm just wrapping up, sister. So please ask your questions. Make use of this community. Okay, if you're just sitting quiet, yes, that's fine. But if you have a burning question, ask them here. Ask them in Filipino, ask them in English. Okay, and then we'll do what we can to answer your questions, because this is what we're here for, guys. This is why you're here. You came here because you want to learn from others. Not learn from me too, but you know, just ask your question and someone will answer it. If no one answers, then I'll answer it. But you know, make use of the community. Don't waste it. So anyways, have a good week ahead of you. I'll catch you again on Monday. Take care, everyone. See you. Bye.